Mhm. Yes, okay. Marta and I both just climbed up 8 flights of stairs, so we might be a little bit out of breath because the elevator in our building is not working. Namaste, everyone. Very warm welcome to Satsang today. Moji ji ki jai. The way to ask questions is directly in the Hangout or through the Q&A application. If you're not in the Hangout, you can use the question and answer application to ask. So good to see you all. The problem is that the mind is too used to relating to things in these 4 dimensions, you see, in the 3 dimensions of space and the 4th dimension of time. Sometimes even time is a stretch for the mind to understand because it cannot be perceived tangibly. It is only perceived because there is change in space. You see, if there was no change in space, then how could time be perceived? If space was static, then there would be no need for time. But now what happens is that there seems to be something which is constantly moving forward in this 4th dimension called time. So the mind has got used to relating to the 3 dimensions of space and the 4th dimension of time. But when we say that you are beyond time and space, we are saying that you are beyond the 4 dimensions. And if you're beyond the 4 dimensions, then how can the mind ever understand this? Hmm. You see the problem? So for the mind to understand something, it seems to be that it must be in these 4 dimensions of space and time. But you are prior to space and time. So it is impossible for the mind to fathom that which witnesses the 4 dimensions. And whatever other dimension there might exist, if there are 7 dimensions or 10 or 11, the mind can only perceive these 4. But for the other dimensions also to exist, you must be there as awareness, isn't it? So in science now they're using this new term called the multiverse. The multiverse means that every single movement leads to the creation of a new universe. So if your hand went left, then you've gone to a different universe. But if the hand went right, you entered a different universe with unending amount of probabilities and possibilities. And if all of this is also true, you must be there as awareness to watch it. So the number of dreams we can have are infinite. The amount of time that can be spent in each dream is also infinite. All of this is dancing for you, for your entertainment. What can exist without you? Hmm? Even if it is imagination, it is your imagination. Hmm? And yet we get so attracted to these small, small things which are happening in time and space. Tell me a problem which is beyond time and space. Tell me a timeless problem. What is eternal? Time cannot move without you. Space cannot exist without you. What is this you that I am talking about? Definitely cannot be about this mortal body which is appearing in this waking state. Mhm. Who is the one who sees all these states? Who is the one who sees the appearance of so many different bodies? Who were you before this body was born? Where were you before this body was born? And today we must also be rid of this misconception that I am inside the body. See, this misconception is very rampant. Even after many satsangs, there's a feeling that there's this me who is sitting inside the body somewhere. This is not true. It can feel like that, yes. But you are not sitting inside this body. This body can be said to be sitting inside you. All that is appearing inside you. But you cannot be sitting inside this body. Namaste, namaste everyone. Good. Nick says a lot has come up the last few days. But if I'm just fixed in the nowness, all becomes mere drama clouds. Yes. In the now, no problem. In the now, you cannot have a problem. So for all problem, we have to work hard. Either we have to go back into the past or we have to imagine into the future. So why do we want to work so hard? To create problems. We've all realized now how difficult it is to have a problem. It is very difficult. And really it is impossible. To even imagine that we have a problem is very difficult, and to create a real problem is impossible. You have never had a real problem. And after the presence of a guru in your life, actually, even if this is not understood, even if this is not understood or seen clearly, it can easily be surrendered. You see, because sometimes the resistance can come and say, okay, I don't see what Ananta is saying. But if you call someone your guru, then at least that much devotion is there that you can say that I can surrender all of this to them. That is why ultimately both the paths of jnana and bhakti, of inquiry and devotion, are the same. Because both will bring you, either will bring you to your true realization of what you are. So all of you have no excuses now to have a problem. You have no excuses left. But I see some of you sometimes also working very hard, you see, working very hard. Because it feels like this emptiness is more scary than having the biggest problem in the world. To the mind, this emptiness seems more scary than to have the worst problem in the world. So it's quickly trying to pull out something from somewhere which you can then focus on and say, but this is my problem. Then that seems more comfortable. Because emptiness doesn't seem comfortable. Initially, it seems like it is a strange state of being in limbo or something like that. And that is why in satsang these days we started asking the question, are you all right without a problem? Because so far we believe that we will be all right when we have no problems left. But now you have no problems left and you're still trying to work hard to create some. So the question then still remains, are you all right without having a problem? Or does it seem more comfortable if you were to rely on a problem? If you were to rely on having a goal? If you felt that we have to overcome something? If you felt that we have to get somewhere? Are you okay to not have a future? Where is the past now? Where is the past? All in something very unreliable called a memory. And we all trust our memory so much that you said this day before yesterday, and then the other one will say, no, but I didn't say this, you said this day before yesterday. And everyone believes that their memory is true. You see. We had this very funny thing, and I shared this in Satsang once also. So Mujiji in Satsang once said something about these spiritual push-ups. Spiritual push-ups, and he was talking about the same point of he felt that we would be happier if he would give us a spiritual practice to do. So he was talking about doing some spiritual push-ups. So I remembered the number 26. I remembered that he had said to do 26 if he would give us 26 spiritual push-ups to do. And Ram remembered maybe 30, and Jyotika remembered 24 or something like that. You see? And for that memory then was seemed so real. You see, you can hear the words from Muji's mouth saying 26. Ram possibly heard 30. Jyotika probably heard 24. It all seems so real. But memory is the most unreliable. So where is the past now except in this unreliable instrument called memory? So we have this friend called Boone. He's called Gautam now. He's a Japanese friend of ours who used to be in Satsang. So Mujiji told us this story in a Satsang in Thiru a few years ago. He said that they had all gone to a restaurant the previous night and Gautam saw this aquarium. And in the aquarium there was some fish. And then there was somebody playing with the fish. And Gautam said that the fish has memory only for 3 seconds. So something, something, something. And then if you startle it or something like that, suddenly it gets startled, but after 3 seconds it's all gone. So Mujiji says it's very beautiful. To have this memory only 3 seconds is such a beautiful thing. So your partner could say the most nasty thing to you, and for 3 seconds you're like this, and then, oh, what happened? What happened? Just imagine that. The memory of a fish. So this is what Nick was saying about the nowness. You see. In the nowness, all the drama goes away. So I'm saying that even if it is not completely nowness, let's be 3 second memory. How would it be if we would have only memory of 3 seconds? So fresh, isn't it? Every moment just new, new. Even in our relationships, then we would not want to paint pictures. We would not want to create a character sketch of the people. Now, anyway, it's becoming more and more difficult to hold on to any ideas about anyone, you see. What if you were to have no memory of anything besides what has happened 3 seconds ago? Nothing will go wrong. Life reminds us in this instant, whatever is required, the reminder is here right now. Whose life is it? Whose life is this that we are working so hard to take care of? Bhagavati ji says the memory of a fish would be too long. Samba says this life is yours. Then you must not work at it. And you must not work at it. See, because every time I say you must not work at it, then it becomes like a sense of passivity, you see. You must not work at it and you must not work at it. This is neutrality. This is clear to everyone? This must be clear, you see. This must be clear. Otherwise, the same old stale presumption from the mind that Advaita or non-doership means a vegetative state of passivity or something like that. That's not what we are speaking about. We're speaking of this beautiful neutrality in which all can appear and all is allowed, nothing is resisted. And all action can also appear like this. And this is the clear seeing that I was never the doer of my actions anyway, because I as a person never existed. These questions always take me by surprise now. The testimony sometimes in satsang is it's completely clear that I'm not a person. Completely clear. Complete, I've understood. And then what should I do now? Then whose doership are we talking about? If I'm not a person, then are you asking about the doership which consciousness is doing? And if even that is your question, we have the simple answer for you that as consciousness, don't believe your next thought. That's all that you need to do. The question of personal doership just does not arise. First, you must show me the person. See, and then the question comes many times that, but you say don't believe your thought. Who is this pointing for? It is for consciousness itself. So this is a conversation that consciousness is having with itself. It's truly a monologue. Om says, only memory for you, Father. Too hard to remember other things. And you say this from love, I know, but even me, you don't need to remember, you see, because I'm all ever present in your heart. And that which is ever present in the heart does not need to rely on memory. It's very Prakash says, excellent. Don't believe your next thought. Yes. This you will hear often if you come to satsang. The rest of them I've heard it at least 1,000 times now. But I feel that it is worth it. Because in this simple pointing, don't believe your next thought is the end of all suffering. Don't believe your mind when it will say that it cannot be that simple. Actually, what we used to say was, let go of your next thought. And then I would get many reports which used to say that I'm not able to let go. And I realized that what they mean is that out of the two fields or the two forces which can act on any thought, when they're saying that they're not able to, they are talking about the force of attention. And attention sometimes can seem sticky, you see. And you try to put attention away from something, the stronger it seems to get. So we made it even simpler. He said even if attention is going to it, still to get suffering out of a thought, still to be miserable because of a thought, you need to give it your belief. And to withdraw belief is the simplest thing. To withdraw belief is not difficult. So in this simple pointing, don't believe your next thought is the end of all suffering. Then you say, what happened when you met Mujiji for the first time? Saw the video, thank you. You saw the video of when I went up on the hot seat, and then it was clear that I was not the person I always thought myself to be. It's completely clear. So I don't want to use fancy words and say the I vanished or something like that. I want to make it completely approachable to all of you. See? So we rely on this concept of the personal I for so long that with the Master's grace in the presence, with his darshan, then this can get dissolved in the truth. This concept of personhood, this concept of believing ourselves to be individual can dissolve in that presence. So that is what happened, that this sense of separation just dissolved. And it was clear, this oneness which is spoken about so often, that became clear. It became a living experience. That is simply what happened. And usually, I don't like to talk about the fireworks aspect of all these experiences, you see, because we get attached to the experiential part of it, the specialness part of it. But what I'm telling you is that with this simple pointing, just don't believe your next thought. This personhood which we seem to suffer from will also dissolve. It is the same thing. Zoe says, when with you want to say, you want to unmute and say,
Hey, it's Mike and Ananta. How are you?
oh my, very good. How about you?
Yeah, good, good. Late at night over here, getting a bit tired, but smiling listening to you.
Same actually.
I just wrote a little thing there, good days and bad days, and I just wrote that when I'm with you, listening to you, everything seems so simple. Don't believe your next thought. It's just it is simple, isn't it? But then in the daily grind, there's things pop up, there's triggers, and it's like this little battle. The mind seems to win just about every day, and that only brings unhappiness. So I don't really have a question. It's just it happens often. I just wanted to share that with you.
Yes, it's good. See, if it was that simple that we could have one satsang, and in hearing the truth of one satsang, then I could have just had one satsang and then no more. You see, there's a reason why we do this every day because actually it's the same thing over and over, isn't it? So what happens is that because the conditioning has happened over a long time, conditioning has happened over a long time, so the handing over of trust from this mind to the Sadguru in the heart can seem like it is a process. Yeah, the master calls it a defrosting or a cooking. So it seems like it is a process of switching of trust from what is here to what is here. And not here or here spatially, of course, you know that. But what seems to be this small mind, small ego, which is speaking here, versus the voice of intuition, which is coming from the heart, the voice of the Sadguru, which we say. So it is nice to see that, at least in satsang, because otherwise what can happen is that even satsang can seem like just noise. You see, if you get some people who are not open and they are made to satsang, made to sit in satsang, it can seem like rubbish. It can just seem like a complete pain to hear these words. So sometimes it's fun to just watch the expressions in the in-person satsang. Sometimes while speaking, I can watch the expressions. So sometimes there are new people there, and probably their loved ones, force them to come or something like that. Maybe they're sitting there and they're like, when is this going to get over? You see. So this is one expression that happens, and next to them could be sitting their loved one who's in pure bliss, pure bliss. So these two contrasts at the same time, with the same word, in the same presence. So at least if you say that, satsang, it seems simple and clear, that itself is very good. That itself is very good. And then you'll find that as more and more you are in satsang, this boundary between in satsang and outside satsang will start to vanish. You will see that the same being is operating there, and the same pointings apply in all of life situations. But initially it can seem that way, that it all seems very clear, but then when I step out into the marketplace of life, then back to the same old grind. It can seem like that.
Yeah.
But that is why we have, every day almost we have these satsangs, so that we're not allowing your mind to get away with you again.
Yeah. I guess I can see more now. It's practice is a thing, isn't it? You just have to keep doing it and doing it.
Yes. It does seem like that initially, with these simple pointings, it seems like it is an effort to do. Because what is happening actually is that we're so used to carrying this heavy bag called the mind, you see. There's this song, what is that song? I don't know where this is coming from. But there's this old George Michael song. George Michael song is, what is the song? It goes, why can't you do it? Why can't you set your monkey free? So what happens is we are so used to carrying this monkey of the mind on our back that in such a country, let me do it. Just set your monkey free, you see. Do you love the monkey or do you love me? That is the song.
If you've got a Boy George song, I might be good with that one. I'll say George Michael.
It's definitely a George Michael song.
Yeah, I know it.
One of them would have heard this song.
I've heard it.
See, Jayani says she's heard it. Yes. So satsang. Ivan has heard the song.
The transmission was breaking up there. I've got you back now, but thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So it can seem like we've been carrying the burden of the mind, and then someone says, why are you carrying this load? Why are you carrying this heavy mind? Why are you carrying the weight of the person on your back? Okay? And at first it seemed like, what are you saying? How can you say that I have been carrying this load needlessly? It must have served a purpose. And then I say, no, the only purpose it has served is to make you miserable. And then, if there is some openness, some love in your heart for what is being said, then you will try. You say, okay, I'll keep it aside for a while. And then you see that it seems so free and light, you see, nothing to do, nowhere to go. all is well. But this monkey calls out to you again, you see. It calls out and say, but we're almost there. I'll get you there. And this voice, because we are so used to hearing it, believing it for so long, we continue to carry it. And then when you come for the next day in satsang, same thing, keep it down, keep it down. And then you will find that this monkey you will just not pick up. And even if you pick up, it will be just momentarily, something will happen for a few seconds or minutes, and then you realize, oh, I picked up this monkey again, and you put it back down. If you're here for a few satsangs, that means you love me. If you did not love me, then you cannot be in this satsang. Because for the mind, it is pure torture. Without love, it cannot happen. And once the love is there, then no trouble. All will be fine. Thank you. You can never tell what is going to come up in satsang. Who could ever have predicted that I will be quoting George Michael, the great Advaita teacher of our generation? They're not looking very amused at all. Deeply meditating. So today we've spoken
You can
about fish.
always find a happy place.
Yeah, a happy place. So we've spoken about fishes. We've spoken about George Michael and 80s music or 90s music. Now, what else are we going to speak of? Also, what we can do is we can drop the concept that when I go out in the real world, then things get different. We can start by not believing that. Then you might find that even in the so-called outside world, nothing actually changed. The beingness was here. The pure witnessing of all continues to be there. There is no outside for you actually. All is inside you. Because it could not exist without you being there. There's a very Advaita movie. Today we are all into pop culture, you see. What is that movie? The Jim Carrey one? Truman Show. I don't know. Truman Show?
Yeah.
Marta and I will watch a movie next time. She's not seen the Truman Show. The Truman Show is very much like this, you see. So Truman would get these reports, newspapers, and he would believe that all of it is true. He would have television which says that the world is like this and like that. But none of it was actually true, was it? It was all just for him, for his benefit. He was at the center of all of this. So all of this is also just for you, for your entertainment. The only difference being that not as you as a person. So not you as Mike or Zoe or Claire or Bhagwati or Shanti, but you as consciousness itself. See what a day trip to Bombay, which is called Mumbai now, can do. Bombay is the film capital of India, you see, and the pop culture capital. All the music, all the films, most of them come from there. I went there yesterday, and today Satsang had to be like this. Claire says, Ananta, I don't feel like anything is inside me. Just existence and emptiness, but not in or out. Yes, yes. This is good. So these also are not spatial terms, you see. They're not literally inside in that way. This is good what you say. You see, we have to use language. So sometimes we'll say all of this is happening in front of you. Sometimes we'll say all of this arises inside you. But I find that these references are better than the traditional reference of believing that I am inside the world. So just to contradict that reference, although it is not true in the real sense, we have to use references like inside or in front. But actually, we know that space gives birth inside me. So nothing can be in front or behind me because space itself is just a concept where I am concerned. There was this old book, I don't know if any of you read it. There's this old book called Flatland. I read it many years ago, so I might be forgetting what it was about, but from what I remember, it was like a two-dimensional, either a square or a circle, encounters a three-dimensional object like a sphere, and it's just not able to fathom it. You see? So if all that we're used to is these four dimensions of space and time, then when we speak of this fifth dimension, which is beyond space and time, beyond all other dimensions, then it seems like it is something which is just not fathomable. You see? It seems too difficult to understand. But simply what we are saying is that without you present as I amness, there is no time or space. Therefore, in deep sleep, there is no time and space. It is when the I amness is born, then these dimensions of time and space are also born. Okay? And these dimensions can be different. So, depending on what we call dream state or waking state, the dimension and what is appearing in those dimensions could be different. I'm realizing as I'm speaking more and more about this In my dreams, I realize that there are many ones which are continuing, you see. So I already told you all about this one where I have this house and the house problems in that one. But there are few more, every time now in a dream it is seen, oh, this is also continuing story. This is also continuing story. So there is actually no difference between this so-called waking state and that dream state. Amba also says, I seem to have a dream memory also. Yes. All fun, you see, all fun. Don't feel that any of this is now a prerequisite also. Why don't I remember my dreams and things like that? It's not about that. In this instant, there could be quick sleep, and then there could be a dream emerging, and it will seem exactly as real as this. All the senses will function, all the memories will still be as real. It could be the first time you have a dream in that situation, in that realm, but you will have the full memory of what has happened. And that is why we said earlier that memory is so unreliable. See? You will not show up in a dream not remembering the life of the dream character that you are. You will have complete memory of who you are and what you are. All of this is the mysterious play of consciousness. So beautiful, isn't it? If we stop struggling with it, if we stop forcing understanding about it, just wonder about these things. And you'll see that it's so beautiful. How can it be that we can have dreams? How can we create these beautiful universes? What power of creation lies within us? So when I ask about dreams and things, it is not to force some sort of a understanding on you, just to trigger these wonderful questions, these contemplations. What is the power that must be here that in the dream state I can create a whole world full of mountains and rivers and everything possible? Whose creativity, which power is this? What must I be if I have this kind of power? And Claire says, I don't seem to do anything, it just happens. Yes, exactly. Exactly. But you, not you as Claire, not you as a person, but you as consciousness. And for consciousness, it is not, creation is not an effort. Creation just flows in your presence, in your light. See, for the light of the movie, it doesn't have to work hard to create some scene and work less to create some other scene. The light is just shining. The movie keeps changing. So light is not doing effort to project this appearance. Consciousness is not doing effort, full doing. It is just being. And in the presence of being, all this appearance comes and goes. While being continues to remain untouched. What can happen in the movie which can touch the light which is coming from the projector? So when we say that this is something is happening to me, this is what we are saying. Actually, it is even more than that, but for now we can just say it like this. What can happen in the movie which can touch the light of the projector? What can hurt the light? Hmm. What event in the movie can hurt the light of the projector? And the true situation is even more, you see. What can touch the witnessing or the audience of this movie? What must happen in the movie that touches the witnessing of the movie? You are this awareness which is completely untouched by any event. You can witness even the light, even the being is in your presence. And don't create any special compartments. You know what I mean by special compartments? Don't create any special compartments to hide stuff. To say, yes, 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 all this is true for 99% of all the appearances in my life, but this 1% is special. This part is completely not unreal. It is not part of the movie. It must be true. If there is a tendency to hide things, then see that that is an attachment. Like someone went to Mujiji and said, it's completely clear to me that I am not real. Completely clear that I am not real. But I just cannot believe you when you say that my husband is not real. Many times it happens that we get this question also in Satsang. I'm not the doer of my actions. I'm not the doer of my actions. Completely clear. I'm not the doer of my actions. But why won't the others understand me? You see? As if they are the doers of their understanding or misunderstanding. You see, it can be very subtle. Completely clear that I am not this. But why won't my family agree with me? Where is the family? If you are not real, then how can the family be real? If you are not a doer, then how can they be doers of their action? Same for thoughts also. Why do my loved one think this about me? But I am not the thinker of my thought, but we still feel that our close ones are creating their own thoughts. Mhm. I was speaking with Regina once. Mike is here, so he knows Regina. I was speaking with Regina when Regina was in Thiru, and she said, or she or one of our other friends who was with us, he said or she said that what will they think about me? Or what will they think about you? Maybe they asked me. And I said, I'm not even concerned about my own thoughts. How would I bother about somebody else's thoughts? It's very beautiful when you have beings that you can have these kind of conversations with. Why be concerned about any thoughts? It's very funny sometimes in satsang, we can now be free from the thoughts which are appearing here, but we still seem to buy into the thoughts which are coming from our loved ones' mouths or the thoughts which they seem to be thinking. It's the same guy, the same guy. Nobody is doing anything, nobody is thinking anything. We've seen this to be true here, then why can't we just see that it's true for all, you see? So if nobody is thinking anything and nobody is doing anything, then can there be any suffering? What another Course in Miracles line is coming up, which is love holds no grievances. So if we see that nobody is doing anything, nobody is even thinking anything, all is just appearing and going, then what grievances could we hold? This is a beautiful exercise. What grievances am I still holding? This reminded me of another Regina story. When she was here, she was telling me that she got invited to speak at a conference. So Regina is Regina Dawn Akers, for some of you that might might not know. She is the teacher of A Course in Miracles and also of the New Testament, which she has interpreted. So she got invited to this conference, and they said, "We want a Course in Miracles teacher." So she said, "But I can talk to you about New Testament." So New Testament, she is the scribe, directly the scribe for the New Testament. And Mike can correct me. What does the I stand for in NTI? I forget. So she says that I can come and do NTI. You see? They say, no, no, we already have an NTI teacher. We want you to come and do a Course in Miracles. You see, but she was the scribe for NTI. I found that very funny. It's like saying that somebody we already have somebody who's interpreting Ramana Maharishi, but Ramana Maharishi himself is being asked to speak about Nisargadatta or something like that. It's really fun. Shanti says quite simply, I love you, Father and Sangha. Love you too, my dear, so much. And Zoe says, same, same, Shanti beloved. Very good. And I'm very grateful to Mike as well, because sometimes what can happen is if you find that that your partner is getting involved in some satsang or something like that, you start feeling that I'm losing something or something. I should be getting more attention. So it's very difficult, and many of the partners in the sangha have this struggle. You see. So I'm very grateful to you for giving Zoe the space, first herself to be in satsang, and now for you to be part of the sangha in such a beautiful way as well. So much love to you. Very good. And it's actually difficult for the second partner who comes, you see. because the first one seems to be already so much into it, then automatically this resistance can come. So it's more difficult, I feel, for Mike in this kind of situation. I'm very grateful, very grateful. Who can tell what this Leela will bring up the next moment? Anything can happen. I was just at a conference actually, and I made sure I ordered the cab in time, got here just so that I could, drink some water, be ready for satsang. And then I got to the bottom of my building, the basement, and they said that both the elevators are not working, and you have to climb up eight stairs. And just before that, I was feeling, there's so much tiredness in the body because of the illness earlier, and then the trip to Bombay, one day trip to Bombay yesterday. So I felt like today in satsang we'll take it a little easy, and we won't speak too much. And then I climbed up these flights of stairs just before satsang. It took all that lethargy out of the system. So you can never predict what is going to happen. You just have to wonder, oh, now this, now this. Just don't take anything personally. It's as simple as that. Oh, we are way beyond time already. So I'll end with a Mujiji story. Mujiji says, one day, one evening, too much satsang had happened and things in the past. So he said, today, no satsang, nothing, no talking to anyone. I'm just going to unwind and relax. I'm paraphrasing, but he said, I'm going to unwind and relax. So he put on the bath, and entered the bathtubs and have a long bath and things. And just then, the bell rang. Ding dong. The bell rang, and something said, no, not today. Today, I'm not going to talk to anyone at all. And the bell rang a few more times. And then the person went away. And then this insight came to Mujiji. He said that this feeling came strongly. Who am I to decide what my evening should be like? Who is this one who is saying my evening should be like this or that? Then he said, okay, I'm going to be open to whatever comes. And then the same one came back a while later and he rang the bell and Mudiji opened the door and there was this friend of his who said, I came a while ago, what, weren't you home or something? Mudiji said, no, I was in the bath. So this friend says, I have some other friends who want to meet you. Can they also come? So Mudiji says, yes, they can come. So all these people came and he said that it was the best evening. Had so much of a good time. So we must not make any conclusions about what is going to happen. This doesn't necessarily mean that you must open the door every time. That is not the point of the story. The point of the story is to just be completely open to life and let all actions flow on their own without making any judgments or preconditions about them. Then there is no room for any suffering. In openness, you cannot suffer. Suffering means resistance. Ego means resistance. So just in these simple stories, everything becomes completely clear. you all so very much. This beautiful satsang today. Nidhi ji ki jai.
Jai. Ananta ji ki jai.
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 Jay. Jay.
You have time for a song?
George Michael.
Who's singing?
Okay. Okay.
Shanti sing, Zoe sing.
Okay. Um, is it okay if I sing the Gayatri mantra for
Yes,
you,
yes.
Father? Is that okay?
I also mute my mic.
Om Bhurбhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodaya Om Bhurбhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodaya Om Bhurбhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodaya.
Thank you, my dear. Very beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you, Amba dearest, for the moderation today. Very good.
You're welcome. Thank you.
One other thing we can do also is that every day I get a lot of messages on Facebook with questions. So what would be easier for me is if we can answer the questions in the satsang like this, and they can see the recording if they're not able to join live, because I find it now very difficult to respond individually to all the questions I get. So when we post the satsang links, maybe we can also say there that if there are any questions for satsang tomorrow, you can just post them over there. And it's very good to be able to expose your questions in front of the sangha or even on Facebook in front of everyone, because it seems like it is something which is I don't want to disclose or something. I want to keep it just between Ananta and me, but it's not necessary for it to be like that. Mostly, of course, there will be some things which are very private that, of course, we can always continue to share now. But otherwise, we can add this link also. So we can add this point there saying that if there are questions in the same thread, they can ask. And then the moderator can read them out or post them in the satsang.
Past time.
He's pointing out that it's way past time.
True. Mm. Bye, beloveds.
Bye. Thank you, Sangha.
Bye.
Thank you, Amber.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Thank you.